Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this channel named Geeks for Geek School. Thank you very much to all the students who have attended all the previous lectures based on game development, which I'm shooting right now. Okay, and besides that, I would also like to thank all the students who are regularly liking and sharing the videos in the groups and making me popular. Thank you so very much for all the efforts that you are doing, all the time that you are taking out of your busy schedule for making me popular. Okay, now as you guys know very well, in the previous lecture we defined the code for making our player run like the way it is running right now here on this green screen. Right, so we are done with defining code for this animation kind of thing. And if we want to jump, make the player jump, we can simply press W for making it jump like this. Right. So this red line is acting as a floor. If you want to know how can you get this red line and how can you define gravity for this red line so as to make this player stationary as soon as it comes in contact with this red line. So you can check out the previous tutorial which I shooted yesterday. So in that I explained the whole code which you can use for getting this kind of animation which you are able to see right now over here on this green screen. Fine. Now what we are going to do today, we are going to define the code for the shooting part. That's what we are going to design today. So we'll change the background first to black, and also now if I'll press the spacebar key here, what will happen, we'll see some bullets coming out from this gun. So that's what we will define the code for today. And as you can see, when the fourth bullet hits this player, it went dead, right? It dies, and that's what we are going to define the code for today. I hope you will definitely like the code which I am going to tell you today. Right. So before diving into the platform, I would first like to request you to please go and like the video and share this video in your groups so that more number of students can come and join this tutorial. And thank you very much in advance for doing that. Let's come on this shoot1.py file, and I would like to first increase the size of this text so that everything can be more visible to you guys. Right, I am coming on the top, and here we'll have to first come in this section where we have defined these two variables for controlling, which are helping us to control the movement of the player, or you can say action of the player. Right. Okay, so here I would like to define a variable with name shoot, and initially I would like to make it false. So that's how I can initialize it with this false value. Right. So this is going to help us in shooting the bullets from the gun. Okay, now it's time for us to come down, and over here we can, the way we have loaded the images for the players, in the same way we can load the bullet image also. So for that I'll have to I can make some space over here in between these two lines, and let's define the required code. So we'll first have to define a variable in which we can store the image of the bullet. So how can we access the image? We can make use of this load named function. Right, hope you guys remember this function. This is the one which we generally use for loading an external image on our game window. Am I right? So I have an image in this image img named folder with this name bullet.png. So it's in the PNG format. That's the reason I have put this PNG over here. Besides that, we would like to convert it into alpha form. So how can we do that? We can make use of this convert underscore alpha. That's the one which is going to help you in converting it into this alpha form. Okay. So now the image is going to get loaded and it will get saved in this bullet underscore img named variable. Fine. Now it's time for us to come down and let's make the required changes. Let's add the required variables to this class named soldier. So the first thing I would like to add here is the speed, then ammo, ammunition, right? That's so these are the two variables I have added to this init function. Now we have this alive. It is perfectly fine. Char type, speed, then we have this direction over here is equal to 1. This is perfectly fine. So the way we have this speed defined over here, we can define the same thing for this one also. Ammo. Okay, and let's define another variable with the name start ammo. Okay, and it is going to be equal to ammo only, and self dot I would like to define another variable. I'll let you know why I'm defining these variables afterwards, not now. Just keep in mind names of these variables which I am defining right now. So they are, we are going to use them for the shooting purpose. Remember this thing. So ammo, then we have this start ammo, we have this shoot cooldown, right? And for checking the health part of the player, right? You must have seen that in games we have, health bar also getting reflected right on the top, which shows the status of the player. When the player is a player fine or is it going to die? So I would like to make use of a variable health, which is going to help us in finding whether the player is alive or not. And also we can have another variable, let's say maximum health, for checking whether it has the maximum value or not. So these are the five variables I have used. Right. Anything else? Direction, velocity is there, and jump is there, in air, flip, animation list is there, frame index is there, action is there, update time is there. So I think we are done with defining the required variables. Let's now come down, and here we need to define a function with the help of which we can update the life of the player. So for that I have to check something. Fine, we need to come down, and here inside this class named soldier, we'll have to define this function with the help of which we can update these things. So self dot update, I would like to update the animation, right? Also I would like to call uh, another function that I am going to create afterwards. So check alive, I'll create it afterwards, don't worry about it. And then we can check if self dot shoot underscore, so that's the variable which I just defined here. You remember this variable over here, so I'm using it inside this update function now. So if self dot shoot underscore cooldown is greater than 0, then what should happen? Self dot shoot underscore cooldown should become, it should decrease by 1. Its value should decrease by 1. Right, so that's what I would like to do. Fine. Okay, so I think You're good to go with this? Yeah. Let's come down, and here we have this move function which will help us in moving the player from left in the left direction and in the right direction. Okay, we have this gravity here. Fine, then self dot rectangle. So it is going to help us in creating a rectangle around the player. So these rectangles we will use for detecting the collisions. So if there are two objects, so what we do, we use this rectangle concept. In this, what happens, we define rectangles around the objects. Suppose there are two objects, so one rectangle will define around the first one, and and another rectangle will define for the second object around it. Now, if the rectangle comes in contact with each other, if the two rectangles comes in contact, it means that the collision is there. So, and after that, we can do whatever, we can code whatever we want to, so as to make so as to make the players return to their initial position, right? Or else we can define some code with the help of which we can change the position of the players, something like that. So rectangles are used for finding out the collision basically. There are other methods also we can use for detecting the collision, but this is one of the best methods that professionals use generally. It's time for us to define a function with the help of which we can make the player shoot the bullets. So I would like to define a function here just before this update animation. So let's use this keyword def, and here we can use this shoot function. Self we can define here. Okay, and if self dot shoot underscore cooldown, so we need to first check whether this is equal to 0, and self dot mo also is greater than 0 or not. So these are the two conditions which we'll first check whether they are true or not. So if they are true, then what should happen? Self dot shoot underscore cooldown should become equal to 20, right? And this bullet should be equal to, let's use a function named bullet that we'll be creating afterwards. So bullet, inside this, let's make use of this rectangle thing. So this we can use for making the bullet move along the x-axis or y-axis. Along the x-axis, absolutely right. So center x plus side this 0.6 multiply, you can use whatever formula you want to for making it move in a horizontal way, rect, and then we can get the size of it. So size 0, right? And then we can multiply it by self dot direction, because we have to find out that we'll have to make the bullet move. We would like to see the bullet moving in the direction in which the player is facing, right, while shooting the bullets. So that's the reason we need to multiply it with self dot direction, and after that we can pass self dot rect dot center y, and then self dot direction. Fine. Okay, so I am done with defining the required code for this bullet named variable I have used inside this shoot function. Okay, now it's time for us to add this bullet to a group. So for doing that, we can make use of, you must have heard about that, you must have used this group sprites concept on game lab. So that's what I'm using here. I'm adding this bullet to a group of sprite, so that's how we can do it. And finally we can make this self.mo is equal to -1, sorry, minus is equal to 1, so its value is going to go down by 1 every time these two conditions are true, right? That's how I have uh, defined the code here. Okay, let's now come down, and here we have this update action. Fine, and then okay, just before this draw function, we can again have a function with the help of this with the help of which we can check whether the player is alive or not. So self, and here if self dot health is smaller than equal to 0, then what should happen? Self dot health should become equal to 0 first, right? And self dot speed should become it should also become equal to 0, right? And self dot alive should become equal to false. It's very simple, you know. You must be able to understand the values also, why I'm passing these values to this variable, if you have checked my previous lectures. So now it's time for us to update the action, so we can use this 3 over here. Fine. So that's how we can have a check alive function, which is going to help us in checking whether the player is alive or not. Now it's time for us to define a class with the help of which we can create a bullet, right? So we can define it somewhere over here. Let's do that. So class bullet. Okay, and I'm going to make use of the same code which I used for creating the player. So sprite.sprite, and inside this, let's have an init function. Okay, and self comma x comma y, and we need to pass this direction also. Right, now it's time for us to check whether, sorry, now we need to initialize this pygame dot sprite dot sprite dot init, fine, self. Okay, then we can come down. Let's assign some speed to the bullet, so we can have this speed 10 self dot image. So now it's time for us to assign the image to the bullet. So it's the image is in this bullet underscore img variable, right? That's where we saved the image right in the beginning. Then we need to define a rectangle around the image. So this is going to help us in doing the same. Self dot image dot get underscore rect. Fine. Okay, and it's time for us to now self dot rect dot center. We need to define this now, and we can make it equal to the coordinates of the point where the rectangle where the bullet is. So x comma y are the coordinates, and let's assign it a direction. So we can assign it this direction, right? It's good to go. Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's time for us to define a function with the help of which we can update everything. So define update and self we can use. So I'm using the same concept, you know, self dot, which I used in the previous lectures also. So if you don't know about this code, please do go and check my previous tutorials. Definitely that those tutorials are going to help you a lot in understanding what I am doing right now, right? Because you know, in all the lectures, in every lecture, it is not possible for me to explain you each and every thing. If now we need to check whether self dot rect dot right is smaller than 0, or self dot rect dot right is greater than screen's width, right? Because I don't want the bullet to leave the screen at any point of time. I would like the moment it happens, the bullet should get destroyed automatically. So for that, we can make use of this kill function. It is so simple, right? Okay, it's time for us to check another thing. If Pygame, okay, I think collision, I was trying to define a code for checking the collision, but we are going to do it afterwards. So shall we do it now? For the collision part, let's do it afterwards, no problem. Okay, we are going to do it afterwards. Okay, so everything is fine, I think. Let me just go through the whole code once again. So I have defined this. We defined this update function here. Okay, it's time for us to now create a bullet group, right? So for creating a bullet group, we can make use of a variable, something like this. And then we can simply make use of this pygame dot sprite dot group, right? That's the function you can use for creating a group kind of thing. Okay, we are good to go with this. It's time for enter into this main loop, which is the while loop, and let's update this loop with some information. So here this is going to draw for us all these sprites, and now it's time for us to update and draw the groups. So for that, we can use this bullet group option, and we can update it using this update function, I think. Yep. And it's time for it's time for us to show this group on the screen. So how can we do that? We can use the draw option, right? We can use this draw function for drawing this group on the screen. So we can pass this screen as a parameter to this draw function simply for drawing this group on the screen. Okay, if player dot alive, so we have everything over here, but we do not have any code with the help of which we can check if the shoot should take place or not. So we can put some code here for checking the shooting part. So if this condition is true, then player should shoot, right? It should start shooting. Okay, and then player in here, uh, it is going to update. This is perfectly fine, I think. Player in here, elif moving right or moving left, else player dot update. This is perfectly fine. Then we have this event checker over here. So if a key is pressed, it is going to move in the left direction. It is going to move in the right direction if key D is pressed. Similarly, if key spacebar key is pressed, I would like it to shoot. So we can define a code. We can define this code over here. If event.key is equals to, let's say, pygame dot k space, not escape, it should be escape space, sorry. Right, if the spacebar key is pressed, then what should happen? Then this value of shoot should change from false to true, because I would like the bullets to come out from the player's what we call it, player's gun, right? That's what I want. uh, okay, and is there anything else we need to add here? Okay, the moment key is released, then what should happen? You'll have to add something for this space key also, right? So if event dot type is equal to pygame dot k underscore space, right? So the moment this condition becomes true, the value of shoot should again change to false, right? And finally, everything will get updated and the game will get closed. Let's run this game and see what's gonna happen. So I am getting some error here. What is this error? Duplicate argument speed. Okay, there are two arguments with same name. I have to remove one of these variables from here. Yeah, so that's one mistake I made while coding. Okay, what's the other issue? In it missing one required positional argument mo. Okay, before I before rectifying this error, I would first like to see whether everything on YouTube is going fine or not, because I'm really worried about that. Really sorry. Just bear with me for a moment. I'm just checking whether I am live or not on my channel. Okay, so everything is going fine, and I'm on the chat box. If you have any queries, please do share it with me in the chat box so that I can answer your queries and make the things more understandable for all of you. And thank you very much to all the students who have shared their issues with me and who are doing it on regular basis, because that's the only way you can tell me about your thoughts, you can tell me about your ideas. Until and unless you will share it with me in the chat box, I will never come to know about what's the issue you're facing, right? I'll not come to know about your issues, right? So if you want to share with me something, please do put it in the chat box. I'll go through that, and in case I find that yes, you require my help, I will definitely try to provide the required help to you on priority basis. So we haven't passed the arguments, we haven't passed the values for two of the arguments. I am done with that now. And here also there are two more arguments, the values of which we are required to pass. So 20. Let me run this code now and see what's gonna happen. It is not giving me the output. It's an error I'm getting here. So take 7 positional argument, but 8 were given. There are 8 in total. So player 200, 200, 3, 5, 25. Mm, so in it takes 7 positional argument, but 8 were given. I have given only 7, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why it is saying that I have given it 8 values? Again, it is showing me the same error. Why is it so? So it says in it takes 7 positional arguments, but 8 were given. Let me check it one more time. What is happening? Why am I getting this error over here? Kindly bear with me. Uh, where is that soldier named function? I think I defined it right on the top. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is perfectly fine. Um, self, character type, x and y, scale, speed, mo. Okay, and over here, player is equal to soldier, and we have passed this player first, and then we passed these two coordinates x and y, 3 comma 5 comma 20 comma 5, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. What is the issue? Why is it not taking the values? Enemy 400, 200, 3 comma 5, 20 comma 0. This is also perfectly fine. Let me do one thing. Let me just copy these two lines of code from here. The one which is running fine. So I am copying. know why it's not taking the input. Here we have one cat type XY. Okay, self is there, cat type is there, X comma Y is there. Then we have the scale, speed, MO. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, okay. Let me do one thing. Let me remove this 5 from here and 0 from here. I think now we'll get the required output. Yes. So if I'll press spacebar key, I am able to shoot. A bullet. I saw a bullet coming out from my this gun like this, right? So it is working. And let me do one more thing. Let me change the background to black. So in order to do that, what we can do, we can come up, and there is a function named fill. I told you you can use for filling the background of this window which appears, on which you are able to see the whole game. You can change the background colors. So where is that function? I think that's the one. And what we have done here, we have used, okay, it's screen.fill I have used here, not that window.fill. So you can use this also, screen.fill, and I have passed this bg variable as an argument to this function. So these are the values of that color which is appearing in the background of that window. We are able to see the whole game on. Let me change the values to 1. Right, so if the value of R, G and B are same, it means that it is going to give us a black color. Now see. Okay, so now it is looking much beautiful, right? Okay, and am I able to run this player? Yes, I'm able to run this player also. Okay, so that's what we developed today. We are able to fire the bullets like this. Now, what we are going to do in the next lecture, which I'll be shooting tomorrow, let me tell you that. So that's what we'll do in the next lecture. Here, what is happening, if I'll press this spacebar key, so every time I'm pressing the spacebar key, a bullet is coming out of this gun. Now if it hits the if 5 bullets hits this player, so the health status of this player will go down to 0 and it will die like this, and we'll be able to see it dying. That a dying animation we are able to see. So this is what we are going to code tomorrow. We are going to define the code for tomorrow in tomorrow's lecture, which I'm going to shoot at the same time with you guys, and I would like you guys to be there with me in tomorrow's lecture. Now, before ending this lecture, I would first like to check the comment section. If I have anything to answer, definitely I will answer that too. And also, I would, tell you how can you make this player throw grenades, the grenades which it is throwing right now. How can you define the code for that? So I'll tell you how can you reuse the code which we have used for making this player fire bullets from this gun. So we'll use the same code for this grenades part also, right? And it is going to be very interesting lecture. So please be there with me, and also please do like and share this video in your groups so that the other students who want to learn this amazing coding, they can also come and join and learn Python game development on this channel. Okay, so let me now check the comment section if I have anything to answer. Definitely, I would answer that query. Okay, I am not able to see any query right now in the chat box, but in case you come across any issue while developing this game, you're most welcome to let me know about the same. You can put your queries in the comment section. I'll go through the comment box whenever I'll get the time to do so, and I'm going to respond to your queries. Fine. And besides that, I would also like to tell you that I have come up. I've started. Uh, I'm starting with my data science classes from first of the next month. If you want to avail those classes, you can contact me on my number, which is 9891665634. Thank you very much, all of you, for being there with me in this tutorial. Have a great day ahead. Bye bye, everyone. Take care.